Hello there, lovely people of today's podcast. My name is Juliet, and I welcome you to the Intuitive Podcast, episode 3, How to Take Up Your Space. And for today's tea, what do we have? Well, I have the Pure Happiness tea again. And I thought that this quote really beautifully correlated to this video. So it might resonate with you and it might not. The quote is, whatever you are facing just might become your greatest gift. Today is a very important topic that I want to talk to you about. I also, in honor of today's topic, have lit, not lighted, lit. Oh my God. Throat chakra candle, which I believe is one of the most important chakras. What did I say? A throat candle or a throat chakra candle? I don't remember. But this is the fifth chakra. No. 1, 2. Yes, the fifth chakra after the heart. It's right here. It's blue. And I wanted to light it because it's, I think, one of the most important chakras when expressing yourself. And also, look, it's... Also, besides it, ow. Damn, the flame reaches, ow. I can smell my hairs being burned. Okay, wow, it stinks. Okay, an evil eye, which is also blue. This somehow, or it allegedly protects you from evil or other people. But that's the first kind of point that I wanted to make, I think, is that you have this beautiful quote from Abraham Hicks where she says that, or they said, because Abram is a social consciousness channeled by Esther Hicks. Wait, let me get a sip of my tea first. Where they say that if you feel annoyed by someone or you feel like someone has done you wrong, it's just because you put out a giant button ready to be pressed and to be pushed that says annoyed, irritated, offended, you know? I think that for taking up space, I actually wanted to make another pages list, or like just a list of common misconceptions about taking up your valid space. I don't know if that's great English, but this is about taking up the space that everyone, no matter how some people may come across as stupid or ignorant or whatever, because that includes you, how everyone is a valid member and can take up space. Everyone deserves the same right of space as everyone. And I think that a common misconception is that we feel like when we take up our space, something bad happens. This is not actually what I wanted to say, but I think that this is the first thing. If we take up space, something bad happens. Going back, first of all, to my point of Abraham Hicks, that might be also the same of that if you're annoyed by someone, and it all ties together, it does. If you're annoyed by someone, it means that you're actually the one that has a belief in place that you can be annoyed by that person. I've experienced this in the past where I feel like someone has invaded my space or had offended me about something. But, you know, we kind of forget that it takes two to tango. And just like when people whine about the governments and stuff, no is also an answer, you know. And actually what a lot of people don't realize is that literally, Jesus Christ, but literally heaven and earth will move if you are literally stop saying that, oh my god, if you are in alignment with who you are, and if you feel good about who you are, and if you have a predominant vibration that says, I deserve to be here, I'm taking up my space because everyone can, I think that heaven and earth will literally be moved, even if you don't notice it, because we can only see the the 0.00001%, right? But I guess that, or I remembered that Joe Dispenza said that if an atom is 99.99999% empty space and only like 0.0001% space, that means that you are more nothing than you are something. So even if it feels like, oh, nothing is changing for me, nothing is moving, it is. It really is. And if you are in alignment with who you are, and if you, as I said, take up your space and claim your seat, I guess, and you just do the things that you want to do, and you follow your highest excitement, and you are not being annoyed by anyone or being threatened or being offended, I guess that's when you truly just take up your space, and you truly, literally, heaven and earth will move for you. But the first common misconception is, if we take up space, something bad happens. I had this too, where I felt like if I say my opinion, something bad will happen. And it doesn't matter what, because your fear doesn't say what will happen. I guess that we forget too that when we have a fear like that, it doesn't really say what will happen. And this is just to keep these fears in place. It's to keep these beliefs perpetuated in order for you to believe 3D reality. But then again, positive beliefs also perpetuate. And I said in the first episode of the Intuitive podcast that positive beliefs have this some kind of way of positively perpetuating themselves or like expanding themselves, whereas negative beliefs, they close you in and they feel like they're just pressing upon you. That's kind of like the way that those mechanisms work. So in order to keep these negative beliefs in place and just to keep you closed in, it doesn't actually say what you're afraid of. They always just say, oh, something bad will happen. Oh, I can't do this. And when we actually ask further, well, what could happen? Or why am I scared? Or why do I have these beliefs? That's when they kind of fall apart and they lose their, they lose their meaning entirely. And you get to see them in sort of like a new light, like, oh, was I scared of that? And maybe then in the future you'll encounter another situation like that, and you're scared again, but you have learned from the previous situations or your previous experience, and you're like, oh, well, I'm a little less scared. You know, that's kind of how you go through life, and you let these, instead of seeing as every single negative thing that happens as something negative, you see it as something positive. That's when you are able to get something positive out of it. And I think that when we say that, oh, if we take up space, something bad happens, this is also when people really want something, maybe they want to act or something. I always, when I was younger, I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be in plays, but I never let myself do that because I was so afraid that if I would shine my light upon everyone, something bad would happen, and I would. But what would actually happen? Like I have no idea. And I still have that sometimes when I speak in public, or just like I'm doing grocery shopping with my mom, and I talk to her about something personal. I like quiet my voice because I'm still scared of what other people would think. And whilst you hear the dumbest conversations in public places, and probably if someone hears it and finds or has an opinion about it, they immediately forget it after a few minutes. You know, so I guess that what would a question out of this would be, well, what would happen? What bad thing would happen? Oh, I'd actually enjoy being an actress. Oh, I'd actually be good being an actress. Oh, people would have an opinion about me. And is that really so bad? Is it really so bad if people say something about it? You know, if we take up space, something bad happens. As I said, this is mostly, predominantly linked to the opinions of other people. And I have very much so personal experiences with this one, because I would project, or I would imagine what other people would say from every single branch of people that I would know through work or through friends of friends or through social media. I would imagine every bad thing that they would say, and I would be crippled and paralyzed and not be able to do anything that I wanted to do because of what exactly? Of words that I put on myself, that I say, that those were the words that people would think about me, but they were actually just things that I thought about me. Another really important point is that when we feel like we can't take up space, it's because we're in our own way. We are literally in our own way. There is nothing. There's nothing other than that, because it's always what we think that people would think. Okay, so another common misconception is, if we take up our valid space, we will lose everyone we care about. I'm just thinking of these as I go, because I don't like to plan things. I like to, preparate, I would say. Instead of prepare, I like to preparate. No, I like to prepare, but I don't like to I always say let the magic happen in the video, If I do it, I sometimes fucking hell, I lost the word, but I sometimes kind of practice a video in my head, but I'm like, oh wait, shit, I do, because if I do now, I have nothing to tell. Okay, so if we take up space, we lose everyone we care about. This is something that I'm personally going through. It's something that I've personally gone through. And I feel like I need to be honest with you about this, because I think that it helps me and it helps a lot of people if I am honest about it. Okay, so if you have had a past like me, where you went through something grand emotionally, it either being depression or anxiety, for a long period of time, where you were not like yourself. And this is a story about layers, where you've just basically accepted every single layer that you put on yourself, and it's being negative, and you might have picked it up from other people, and they were not even your beliefs. And as I said in previous videos, you can kind of recognize which beliefs are yours by, if they feel light, they're yours, but if they feel really heavy, like they're wearing you down, they're not yours. This is something that Bashar said, and he says that if you keep on believing then these heavy beliefs, it makes you a belief thief. But if you went through something that was, as I said, grand emotionally, for a long period of time, you kind of put all these beliefs onto yourself, and they don't really feel like you, but you identify with them anyways. And this is something that happens to most of us, but if it happens in over such a long period of time, in such a grand way, it means that you have then maybe friends that aren't really meant to be your friends. And you might have gone, because you're not yourself actually, you might have lost some friends on the way, and you might have gone into pretty nasty situations with them. It either being an argument, I've experienced this as well, or just an abrupt, we stop talking. And these are all things that the universe orchestrates for us, through us, without us it couldn't happen. So I'm saying the universe, but I just mean you. You orchestrate this for yourself through your 3D experience in order to let these friends go, and in order to seek new friends that are more in alignment with who you are. And it's not that you might find friends right away, because you might still not be in alignment with who you are, or you will find friends that are really not your type of friends, but right now they're your type of friends. That could happen also. And I've experienced this too, where I would go and have these friendships, and I would have to not be myself around them to keep them, because I had this common misconception that if I take up my space, that means that I will lose everything that I care about, everyone that I care about. But we forget that the people that we care about, and they're all pretty sweet, they could be kind people, and they could not have done anything wrong, and your friendship could just be, it could be fine. But you might at some point in time have changed so much into yourself and not into someone that you're not, that on a fundamental level, you just do not agree with them at this time. Let me take a sip. I'm sorry if I burp a lot. I don't know, I'm a pretty burpy person. I don't know why, but deal with it. Yeah. And as I said, it could be these situations where you lose friends. They could be really, they could feel awful. They could feel really intense. And I experienced one where I literally just felt really depressed for a week and a half because it was such a good friend of mine. But at the end of the day, we just didn't vibe anymore. And now I am grateful that I have lost that friend, because I now am at a place where I am really, really rediscovering who I am. And I'm just going to be honest here. I do, what's the fucking word? I think that I might be on the verge of losing some more friends, but I feel like that's fine, because when I think about the alternative where I am truly myself and I am finding these new friends, I feel really happy. Because in previous conversations that I've had, I felt some kind of like blockage with some friends. And I even experienced like an intense headache after meeting with one friend. And I think that when we then have these conversations with these people and we say things and they might not really land that well with the other person, we always just shove the blame onto ourselves. Like, oh, I've said something that wasn't right. I shouldn't have said that. I should pay more attention about hurting or not hurting the other one, because we picked up these beliefs along the way and I think that this belief a lot of people have, or almost everyone has, that pleasing other people is the right way to go, because we have to please our teachers, we have to please our parents when we grow up, and we basically grow up in this people-pleasing culture where it's really bad to disagree with with everyone, because that's bad, you know. And but when you shift that blame onto yourself, please don't do that, because I've had I've experienced this like recently, that I still like shift the blame onto myself, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Oh, that was wrong for me to say. Whilst that thing that I said was in true alignment with who I am. And we shut ourselves off like, no. Because I want you to pay attention to this, because we don't know where these feelings come from sometimes. As in, I was watching, this is a very, very random example, but it's a good example. Just today, I was watching a video from Geo Beats Animals or something, Animals Geo Beats, I don't know. And it was about two roosters, and or like a hen, like a chicken and a rooster. It's like an animal channel. It's funny. It's very sweet to watch sometimes. And the rooster was in love with the chicken or something, and she was like explaining all of these types of behaviors that they did. And I was thinking in my mind, but isn't that just, or I just like heard the thought, isn't that just what you put on the chickens? Like, you put human emotions on them. And I was like, but I don't know. I don't believe that. And I was like, where did that thought come from? And I was like, was that me? But I didn't really think a lot of it. I went on watching the video. And then she said, I have had comments saying, oh, isn't it just you putting human emotions on your animals? And I was like, oh my God, I just thought that. An example that thought isn't mine. So the belief isn't mine, but I still picked it up from the fucking morphic field and the collective consciousness, so that we have around us, and everything and everyone is connected, right? So sometimes when you hear a thought, sometimes when you have a belief, you don't know where it's from, you don't know who it's from, and well, 9 times out of 10, it might not even be yours. So that's another like piece of evidence that you can literally become who you want to be always. So when you hear in your head, oh, it shouldn't be me, or I shouldn't have said that, I should be more considerate of others, that might not even be your belief. I just don't want you to block your own growth and your own journey to the true person that you already, or that you're truly meant to be. And sometimes when you have gone through something emotionally paralyzing and emotionally crippling, like depression or anxiety for such a long time, well, you don't know who you are, and you have the free will and you have the freedom to reinvent yourself into whomever you wish to be. Because and sometimes it means losing all of your friends, and sometimes it means maybe even keeping one or two of them. But another, I think, common misconception, no, this is not about taking up your space, but another common misconception about when people who in the manifesting community, whatever, I don't like to say, oh, in the manifesting community, in the spiritual community, but like people who talk about manifesting, they say like, oh, you're meant to meet your soul family, and only that family will be in true alignment. Those are the people that I believe are like the divine timing people, you know, like, this is just one path that is meant for you and you're supposed to walk on it. So if you lose all of your friends, the group of friends that you're meant to meet will be out there. Nothing per se wrong with that, but it creates this kind of like tunnel vision, like, I should be with these friends. And you might even then, when you meet someone who maybe in first glance isn't someone that you would be friends with, that could become a really good friend. You know, it's not just like, oh, we need to find the people that are, why did I kind of sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger? I need to find the people that are in true alignment with who I am, and the rest are just you know, shut off. No, because I have one friend who is really not the type of friend that I think I would have had, but she's like my best friend. So sometimes it could be like weird. And I think what I meant to say is that you don't, it's just like this difference of people say like, well, you don't have to agree with everything that someone says. When I maybe speak about, oh, I don't really align with that friend anymore. It's not what I mean. I don't mean that I disagree with some things that I say or that we say to each other. I mean that literally, fundamentally, yes, literally again, fundamentally, my vibration and the vibration of that person are off. And every time that we meet, I'm either the one that holds the entire conversation, or literally again. Why do I say literally so many times? But like, it's because it's not even literally, it's figuratively. But I just speak and I just get nothing back. And it's this overall feeling of, like, just nothing. It's just nothing. And it isn't meant to be, it isn't meant as an insult to that person, because that person probably feels it too. You know, like, just because, and it's not to say that I'm better or they're better. It's just that we're different right now. But don't let people, when you say, oh, I don't feel like we agree on things anymore, which is the human thing to say and the human way of interpreting it. And when someone says, well, you're not meant to be agreeing with everything that you say to each other. No, we fucking know that. But if there's this fundamental misalignment in vibration translating into the whole experience is just, it's just not something that adds something to your life. Sometimes you just wish to have more depth, or maybe even a jokier interaction. And some people would like to read a book sitting next to each other. Like, there's no one way to go about it, and there's no right way to go about it. But if you feel maybe even like I had, like a headache afterwards, or just like this overall feeling of blech, I think that that's a very good sign that it might be time to consider your friendship. And you don't even have to then like text them and say, well, I think this is what's up, and on WhatsApp. And if you think that you should do that, then do that. But you can just literally let the universe let it play out for you. And if you just find yourself more, just focus on yourself more, then the people who are in true alignment with you, they will come to your path effortlessly. I can guarantee you that. Because you come to a point too where you're so done with not taking up your space anymore as the beliefs have told you in the past, because you just aren't that person anymore. You've just grown out of that person. And I think that, and this is where literally really comes into play, or it's always, never mind, just say it comes into play. It's great English, it doesn't matter, you're not English, it doesn't matter. Okay, Bashar said that when you have grown so much out of that person that you once were, you literally, not figuratively, but literally become a new person with a new past and a new future. And that makes perfect sense. Because in order for you or for beliefs to perpetuate themselves, you have to literally still be the same. And also sometimes when you literally become a new person, literally, you will look different. And sometimes even your friends won't recognize you. That's where literally has meaning. So yeah. Okay, so the next point, the next common misconception is we put on ourselves a version of life that we have to lead. Or better said, I can't be the person who I truly want to be. Who says? This doesn't have to be complicated. Like, who says? Who says? Who says? Who says that you have to leave? Yes, I have to leave this life. Well, you have to leave this life, but who says that you have to leave this life? If that were true, then the greatest of the greatest wouldn't have become the greatest. Because then everyone who has either made some kind of great transformation within themselves wouldn't have done that, because it wasn't the life that they were, meant to lead. And it wasn't the person who they truly were to become. Because in my last point, or as I said before, you literally become a new person. This is really interesting because we're like, well, you always take your past with you, and you always kind of have this remembrance or these memories of the person that you were. But you might still be aware of that person, and you might still be, of that person, but it doesn't mean that you are that person. And I think this is the most fun and the most interesting about this. Like, I'm really interested in shifting your reality entirely. I find that so interesting, and I'm going to explore that more and make a whole video about it, because to me it's so special and so miraculous to completely change yourself and to become this other person. And I think that we do kind of forget that we literally become the same or a different person, because we forget that the past and the future are just concepts, psychological concepts in our minds, and that if you were to become truly silent, I said, then you would just be in the moment. And this, even though Earth has night and day, but that's just because the moon, we rotate around this fucking moon. We rotate around the sun. And I hope that's the right information that I just said. That's why we have night and day and seasons and shit. But time is bullshit. Time doesn't exist. You go from moment to moment. And in every single moment, you have the potential of completely reinventing yourself. And if that wasn't the case, as I said, then the greatest wouldn't have become the greatest. Because then they would have let society to say to them, well, you can't be this. You have to become a housewife with children, maybe in the 50s or the 60s. Or you can't be this because your color skin doesn't do that. You can't be this because your weight doesn't do that. Or your body type doesn't do that. I mean, look at David Goggins and his story. He went from being obese to like the toughest motherfucker there is. This notion is also of this notion of I can't be the person who I truly want to be, or this is just a hobby, what I want to do, but I have my real job and my real life out here. I think this notion, and when it's bullshit, and when people choose to lead their lives this way, I think it's just it's nonsensical, and it's truly, how do you say that in English? It's sad that some people choose that. But again, this is also just a belief that has been put in place by other people. And this is the societal belief, I believe, that we can't be the person who we truly want to be. But I think that we're getting out of that now, because I think that a lot of things in life are shifting, and I think that a lot of people are shifting, and that just truly still like really proves that, yeah, we can shift to completely new realities where we are completely different people. I mean, do you think that right now that I'm going to have this body type forever, and that if my mother has these types of diseases, that I'm just going to say, oh, well, my fate has been written in stone, and I'm going to be chronically ill for the majority of my life? No. And I urge you to take up space when you do that, or when you choose that. Yeah, it might be uncomfortable, but that is a great segue to my next belief. It's uncomfortable. Or to my next common misconception. It's uncomfortable to take up space. And you have all the people who say, do you want a comfortable life or a good life? You know, Tom Bilyeu is a good example of this. I think that those people, I really align with a lot that the improving people say, and kind of the CEO type of people. But I also think that there's just a better way to go about it. Because I think that if a person were to become too uncomfortable too fast, sometimes they have a reaction of, oh shit, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too scary. I was right all along. I shouldn't have done this. It can kind of like backfire like that. And then you're even further from where you want to be. And I think that you don't have to get uncomfortable every single day, but sometimes you do. And you probably will come to a level where you find comfort in the uncomfortable, where that's where I am now. That when I do yoga and I think, or I thought that, oh, I couldn't do this. Oh, I can do this. Or when I take my cold shower every single day, I'm still glad that I took it, and it gets easier every single day after, maybe like 1.5 years of taking the cold showers. And I'm not saying that it takes that long for everyone. It just took that long for me to actually enjoy the cold showers. And like, I do also agree with when you put someone in the outer bag, just like the wildlife, and you have to, like, you're forced to survive for like 3 days. I think that's sometimes you fasten the development of a person who was scared of a lot of things, and sometimes it is good to just throw yourself into the deep end and just see what happens. I've done that for a lot of times, and I must say that now I'm really great that I did. I'm really grateful that I did. But sometimes, oh my God, sorry. I've been having this all day where I just swallow, or, oh my God, I don't know. Just choke on my own this throat chakra, okay? Oh my God, it's opening. But yeah, sometimes when someone gets too uncomfortable, it kind of backfires. So yeah, it's uncomfortable to take up space, but so is saying something that you're in alignment with, and that's taking up space. So is doing something that you are in alignment with, and that's taking up your space. But when you do that, you give yourself a shot to your dream life. And that's what all the people who are so, it's so touching, who are so like harsh about that. So just like the 5 a.m. crowd or something. Yeah, they're stressing that point because it's maybe 7 out of the 10 times it does lead to someone's dream life. And I must say, when I first started YouTube, I was scared as shit. And I was still scared up until like last year. But now that I pushed through it, and I'm not saying that it was comfortable at all, but I think that's where Bashar comes in again, that if we just give the chance to every single situation to be a positive situation for us, where maybe when you don't align with someone anymore and you have this intense disagreements and it feels very wrong and it feels so sad, that it's just like a situation that should have, or that had to happen in order for you to find the people that you are in true alignment with. Because yeah, sometimes it takes losing all of your friends to do that, and sometimes it feels really uncomfortable, but that's okay, because it's about you and who you are, and you have the opportunity to make every single situation in your life a good one and to learn something from it instead of just pushing it away, and therefore even perpetuating it more. That's not healthy either. Maybe another common misconception about taking up your valid space is that, yeah, this might be just like we will lose everyone we care about, but we will end up completely alone. Alone. I misspelled completely. My tea is getting cold. Wait a minute. But that ties together with the first common misconception that if we take up space, something bad happens. Because truly, it doesn't. I have had a belief in place for a long time where if I say what I mean, everyone will hate me. And you know what? When you believe that, well, it does happen. But that's just because of your belief. When you come to a point where you're like, I can't do this anymore, it feels bad. And it has felt bad. I mean, in your past, you've probably had a lot of different opportunities to say what you mean, but you didn't. I've had them too. Like, oh my God, so many. I can't even count. I think it's up in the thousands or in the 100,000s. Okay. I've shut myself up so many times. Maybe that's why my throat is fucking hurting. Is like, get it out, girl, get it out. I mean, a lot of us, we don't sing in public because we're scared. We're not the first ones on the dance floor because we're scared. We're not the first ones to ask someone out because we're scared. Whereas if we were to actually do those things, we would learn from them. It would feel uncomfortable, but we are taking up our space. And I think that the greatest thing to take away from this video is that you have to be grounded within yourself. And I'm not saying you have to walk bare feet, or you have to walk bare feet. You have to walk on bare feet, or you have to ground yourself into the earth. I'm saying that you have to support yourself and you have to be proud of who you are. You have to take up your space in order to do all of these things that are so scary, that are so seemingly scary, because they're in the end of the day, they're not that scary. And all of the friends that I have lost and all of the potential friends that I will lose, like, if I lose more friends now, I know that it will be positive. And all of the horrible or seemingly horrible things that I went through in the past, they're not so horrible. And I don't even remember most of them. So, because I'm this new person who doesn't care about them, you know? It's literally just where you pay your awareness to. Where do you put your energy? You know, because that grows. And you have to give yourself the chance to become someone that you want to be. And you don't do that by just playing this part and putting on this mask that was once you and that has served its purpose already. Because if you just take off the mask and you get to know yourself and who you truly are and who you are in alignment, or what you are in alignment with, and you just don't judge it. You don't judge if you have been a baseball player for a long time and you don't like baseball anymore. Really random example, but that's what I heard in my mind. You just don't care. It doesn't matter, okay? Because you can become a completely new, better version of yourself. It's already created. If you can imagine it, it's already created, because that version of you is living there. This is not real life. This is real life. Your imagination, the things that you're feeling, the things you're experiencing. And you're going to come to a level. If you're watching this video, it's laid out for you, okay? Because you want this. So you are meant for this. And that fate can change in any type of way. But like, it's a good thing to take up space. It's a good thing to break through these beliefs or these common misconceptions that say you can't do this because of that and you can't do that because of this. They're not real. They are societal. They are your teacher's beliefs. They are your boss's beliefs. They are your parents' beliefs. They are your friends' beliefs. They're not your beliefs. So, whatever your voice may be, in whatever type of way you wish to express yourself, start doing that. Start taking step by step, but do it every single day a little bit and it will get easier. I promise you. Like, sometimes when things are easy, or I don't want to say easy, but when things are comfortable, they're not worth it in the end of the day. And not because they're easy, but because they're not you. And I think that if we all just were to admit to ourselves what we would actually want and to say, yeah, I want to maybe just have enough money always to just travel my life away instead of working. I want to become a rock star on stage. I want to become the best actress in the world. I want to start a nonprofit. I want to have my own web shop. I want to become a graphic designer. I want to become a book writer. I want to become a publisher. I want to become a store owner, like whatever it is. Maybe even a trash can man. I don't know what the English translation of it is, but like, it doesn't matter. If it's your true expression of who you truly are, then that's worth enough. It's worth enough. Sometimes when I like go on these beautiful inspirational things, I just don't know what I'm saying anymore. And then it all loses its inspiration. But when it's worthy enough for you, okay, fuck everyone else. Those beliefs about, yeah, but what of other people? What are they going to say? Those are the beliefs that you have to become conscious of and say, yeah, what would happen? What would happen? What would happen if everyone hated me? Oh no, everyone hates me. Oh no, like 7.6 billion people hating you? I don't think that that's possible. Oh no, what would they say? The people that I went to school with. Oh no, what would they say? I don't know, but it probably isn't that important because it doesn't matter. And you're on your way to find people who do matter to you and who are in true alignment with you and who don't judge because you don't judge. You know, like, just do some introspection about this and ask yourself, if I take up space, would it be really that bad? And it sounds so ridiculous too when I'm saying this, like, if we take up space, if we do what our birthright is, if we actually do what we're meant to do, and if we were to do what makes us happy, then what happens? It's so bad that I'm happy by doing what I love to do. Oh my God, isn't it weird that we put so many limitations on ourselves by not taking up space? And I think too, because we have it so easy, at least the Western world, where we can literally just shop all of our stuff without seeing a person, and we don't confront ourselves with, or we don't make conscious what we have to make conscious, the negative beliefs. It keeps us more in this place of comfort. And I used to be so scared. And I remember a video. I don't know which video it was, but I remember this advice that really helped me when I was younger and I was going through like my deepest depression period. And it said that if you don't get out of your comfort zone, it not only stays like that, but it shrinks. So you have to keep coming out of it at your own pace, obviously. Not that it's going to backfire, but it not only stays the same, it shrinks. And that's why some people, they don't go out of their houses. Some people find it hard to order food or to switch seats when they're in a restaurant. some people, when I'm working in the store, they're really nervous behind the register, and I just I don't try to make eye contact. Like, I just look away of them, because I know how uncomfortable that can be. But it's so, I'm not gonna say like, oh, it's so weird. No, because I was that person too, where I was just too afraid of going to a store worker and asking where something was. And it's because of that I care so much about this. And it's because of all of those powerless moments that I have felt in my past is why I now feel so powerful, and why I now know so much about it. And know that if you feel the deepest pain and you have felt like you are not allowed to take up space, know that when you finally do, it's going to be amazing. And it's going to be awesome. And it's going to feel like the greatest thing that you've ever done. And then you're going to ask yourself, like, why in the hell didn't I do it sooner? But that's okay. And that's for another video. Just like the first episode, I will put all of these common misconceptions that I have typed here into the bio. And I just really hope that this helped you to finally take up some space. Even if it's just a tiny little thing, it's a small win. And get out of your comfort zone slightly. And it will sometimes be just a smooth transition instead of like this abrupt, harsh transition that sometimes can also be beneficial though. So, thank you so much for watching the third episode of the Intuitive Podcast. I really hope you enjoyed. And for Friday, I don't know what the subject is going to be yet, but tune in for Friday. So, have a nice day. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.